At that price, you can afford to have pizza for dinner Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So come in for this limited time offer and get a large one-topping carry-out pizza for only $7.99. Saving money has never been so delicious. Only at your Pizza Hut.
Live and in HD, this is ABC 7 Breaking News.
And this breaking news is the story that everyone is talking about. It took a front seat to the threat from Hurricane Irene. People around the area ran for cover thanks to one of the largest earthquakes to hit the East Coast in nearly a century. Now, the damage is being assessed after this freak act of nature that many of us have never seen or felt before. This is a day that many of us will not forget for a long time. The earth doesn't shake around here, at least that's what we thought. Well, it did today, and people from New England all the way down to the Carolinas felt it. That 5.8 magnitude quake just before 2 o'clock centered near Mineral, Virginia, about 90 miles away from the district. The damage, nothing compared to what we've seen before in California or earlier this year in Japan, but there is some cleanup to do, and some buildings have been deemed unsafe at this hour. A lot of the earthquake caught on camera as well. It's not often when you see a camera pointed at the White House or the Capitol shake around, but you see there, it did today. Government office buildings were evacuated. Crews checked things out, though, and the House and Senate buildings are now back open. But late video just into the newsroom now, we're told that there are cracks at the top of the Washington Monument, and it's been closed. This comes after a second inspection of the monument. The grounds around the monument remain open for the time being. But what is not okay is the highest structure in Washington, the National Cathedral. It remains closed tonight. The building suffered damage to 3 of the cathedral's 4 pinnacles, and there are visible cracks in the church's structure. Officials continue to check out the safety of the cathedral. And the damage wasn't limited to there. Check out this scene in Baltimore. There was a scene up there of a number of buildings also damaged. Fortunately, though, there were not any serious injuries in the quake zone. Still, rattled nerves were enough for most of us. We've got live team coverage of today's earthquake and the aftermath for you. We've got crews spread across the area from Maryland to the epicenter of the quake. Our reporters also are looking at the crazy post-quake commute and how social networking exploded after the shaking stopped. First, let's get to our senior meteorologist, Bob Ryan. He's got a look at exactly what happened under our feet today. Bob, fill us in.
Leon, during the afternoon, we felt it here, and as soon as we felt it, it was an earthquake. And the interesting thing is that this is a historic earthquake for the East Coast, but we're not under a limited risk. As a matter of fact, this is from the USGS, and you can see parts of the east are, especially in the mid part of the country, are under some moderate risk. Here's the risk, and you can see how that epicenter, there it is right there in the center of your screen, because of the fault, and there are some active faults in Virginia, are very near a hazardous area. Here's some of the areas that were really affected, all the way, as you can see, from New England, as a matter of fact, south into Alabama, but the biggest impact right around us. Here's how this compares to some of the historic East Coast earthquakes. The greatest one was Charleston, 1886. Boston also had a magnitude of greater than 5 back in colonial times, but this rivals the biggest earthquake that we've ever had in Virginia, 5.9 back in 1897. So in historic terms, this is certainly the largest earthquake along the East Coast in more than probably 100 years. Quite a day here in the Washington area and throughout the East Coast, for that matter. Back to you.
All right, Bob, and this day is not over for many, because now it's on to the damage assessment. It's scattered, but where it did happen, it caused quite a mess.
So check out the video now from News Chopper 7. This is Culpeper, Virginia, where parts of Old Town Culpeper suffered some damage there. Not far from there, in Mineral, people are talking about their new claim to fame as the epicenter of today's quake. Greta Cruz live in Culpeper with more on what she saw in the quake zone. Greta.
Well, Allison, I can tell you, downtown historic Culpeper here is an absolute ghost town tonight. You can see the roads are completely shut down. The police tape is up. A number of these old buildings have been seriously damaged, including the train depot and the jail. They had to move all the prisoners, but nobody was hurt. The quake struck historic downtown Culpeper the worst, took a big toll on St. Stephen's Episcopal Church.
It's devastating. Very devastating, the damage it's done.
Several stores, hair salon and bookstore included, were heavily damaged. So were a few overhead apartments. No serious injuries, though, just fear for these two who were in a tattoo parlor when the quake hit it.
It freaked me out, like I was scared. because nothing's ever really happened like that in Culpeper.
Most of the power is back on now here, though, and the big cleanup has begun. 35 miles south in the epicenter of Mineral, meantime, Louisa County schools are all closed till further notice. The quake damaged the high school, causing this big crack in the back of the school and leaving debris and damage inside. Students were in the middle of class when it hit.
Everything was all normal, and everything started shaking real bad. The blinds and everything started shaking, and stuff started falling from the ceiling.
I ran out the building and all I saw was tiles everywhere, cracks in the walls, and I was just kind of freaking out. You know, I was in total shock.
Mostly just bumps and bruises, although one student was taken to the hospital after suffering a possible asthma anxiety attack. Damage elsewhere in Mineral also frighteningly clear. The roof just gone from the town office building. Grocery stores, a jumbled mess of foodstuff in the aisles. At the food line, frantic workers and customers alike scrambled for cover.
It sounded like an airplane was running through that building. It was scary.
Everything started shaking. You could see things falling. People were panicked, and a lot of people were crying.
Now, inspectors are going to be back here in Culpeper early tomorrow morning, making sure those businesses are safe and ready to reopen. We are also told that the county courthouse will be closed. And one more very important note, tomorrow the kids were supposed to go back to school, but tomorrow all Culpeper County schools will be closed. In Culpeper, Greta Cruz, ABC 7 News.
Okay, Greta, thank you. And we turn to Maryland now, where hundreds of people displaced because their apartment building is not safe.
Now, the building on Curtis Drive in Prince George's County is the one we're looking at here. Officials have condemned this building, but their work doesn't start there. The county also says that dozens of buildings were damaged. Brad Bell is live at the County Emergency Operations Center in Hyattsville. He's got the latest from there for us this evening. Brad?
Well, Leon, we've actually moved to the site of the building. The County Emergency Operations Center actually shut down a little bit earlier this evening. Two headlines here in Prince George's County. You mentioned dozens of buildings damaged. Many of them are schools, and so schools in Prince George's County are closed tomorrow. All of the schools are closed so that engineers can do a complete assessment of all the buildings, but we understand something like 4 dozen school buildings suffered widespread but minor damage. And then these tall buildings just above Branch Avenue, there are 5 large apartment buildings here. All of them shook so violently that they had to be evacuated, and when they were inspected, 2 of them were condemned.
Lisa Kennard and her family know they may be looking for a new place to live, but after what they endured in their 8-story apartment building, quite frankly, they're just happy to be alive.
I was just shaking, you know, uncontrollably. As we were coming down the stairwell, they were cracking like in half. Something that I would never want to experience again.
She is among more than 250 people displaced because of damage done to their Hillcrest Heights apartment building by the earthquake. Tabitha and Jovan Waters and their children walked away this evening with nothing more than each other and one bag of supplies.
They're going to let us know tomorrow whether or not we're going to be able to get back in or whether we won't, but the building looked bad, so I don't know.
The wall is kind of like falling apart on the steps. It's kind of breaking open a little bit.
All of that will be inspected by building engineers over the hours and maybe days ahead. Those displaced say they want their homes back, but they're also not too eager to go back inside.
It was crazy. That's all I could say. The building was shaking, and I thought the building was coming down. I ain't had no idea it was an earthquake.
Well, back live now, you can see that that building is dark. It is empty. We said 250 people in the story. Just before airtime, we learned that that number has actually doubled. 500 or so people have been displaced by what happened here. Again, 2 headlines, what happened here, and I want to reiterate, Prince George's County schools will be closed tomorrow. In Hillcrest Heights, Brad Bell, ABC 7 News.
All right, good deal. Thank you, Brad. There's word that more people are out of their apartments. This now is in the 1800 block of Wilson Lane in McLean, Virginia. Fairfax County fire officials say that nearly 20 units are damaged and are now uninhabitable. Residents are getting assistance with housing tonight. Also in Virginia, some scary moments for people who are out working at an office complex in Vienna.
Take a look at some video now from YouTube of the mess left behind by the earthquake there. Several cars were crushed when parts of a building came crashing down on Old Courthouse Road, and we are hearing from those who saw this happen. Jay Korf live in Vienna with their story tonight. Jay.
Allison, extraordinary and extensive damage. Check out up top. A huge portion of this building's wall came crashing down. It not only took out one car, not two, not three, but 4 vehicles were destroyed. Thankfully, no one was in these vehicles when the quake hit.
This is pretty wild.
Onlookers are flocking.
No, you don't expect this in Virginia?
To an ordinary office complex in Vienna.
I'm speechless.
To catch a glimpse of seismic strength.
This could have been very devastating. Somebody just happened to be leaving at the wrong time.
2 buildings here could not compete with Tuesday afternoon's earthquake.
Basically what happened here is we had a seismic failure on the building.
Thousands of pounds of cinder blocks from a number of exterior walls rained down on grass, sidewalk, and fiberglass.
All 4 cars are totaled.
The cars belonging to clients and business owners were crushed.
Yeah, if anybody had been pulling up at lunchtime because it was around 2 or anything, I mean, they would have been dead.
No one, thankfully, was anywhere near here when the earth shook for what felt like forever.
And if you point your camera over there and look at that, I mean, it would have crushed anybody that was there, and we're lucky. And this is a very busy complex.
Crews quickly boarded up exposed spaces, but until county officials deem these buildings safe and sound.
We're telling everybody to stay away for 2 days.
But many more days will have to pass before the memory of this moment fades.
Well, it was definitely an experience.
So you can see the most glaring damage in front of you, but keep in mind the same section of wall collapsed on the other side of this building, and a nearby building sustained similar damage. So a lot of cleanup and repair work needs to be done out here indeed. Live in Vienna, Jay Korf, ABC 7 News.
Okay, Jay, thank you. So the first thing a lot of people did in the minutes after the earthquake, of course, was try to make their way home.
That's right, and what a mess that turned out to be today.
You know it firsthand.
Yeah, I know for sure. Metro trains were packed, and it seemed like everyone got in their cars all at the same time, jamming up area highways. The problem, Metro's got to check the tracks to make sure those trains would stay on track. John Gonzalez is live in Silver Spring tonight with more on the commuter chaos today and whether the morning commute will be even better. John?
Well, Leon, we can tell you here in Montgomery County, the roads were backed up. Metro was slow all day long, and it took commuters hours to get home. But, you know, many of the folks we spoke with say that they weren't upset with the long travels. They were just shocked over this major D.C. earthquake. Downtown Silver Spring, where storefront windows were cracked and people literally ran out of the office buildings and businesses. At this beauty shop, the female employees rushed to look outside and they felt the violent tremors.
It started shaking more and I said, it feels like an earthquake. If it were anything else, we would hear noise.
So after the earthquake, which lasted about 10 to 20 seconds, and for many a first-time experience, the mass exodus home quickly became a disaster.
Metro is very slow, yes.
15 miles per hour due to the earlier situation with the earthquake. Dozens of large buildings were evacuated. Many didn't waste any time and started their long trek home. Those riding Metro hit major snags. That's because the transit agency enacted a speed restriction on trains throughout the system.
Some people said, let's get out of here, and they started heading for the stairwell.
While it took many much longer to get home, those who were already there perhaps have even more dramatic stories to tell tonight.
I looked out the windows and I saw the neighboring apartment. It looked like it was actually swaying.
Throughout the afternoon, frustrated commuters desperately tried to reach loved ones by cell phone.
No calls. I finally heard back from my daughter's babysitter, which is good.
Even those from California were impressed with the magnitude of this quake.
It's one of the biggest earthquakes I've ever felt. I lived in California for 20 years, and I never felt anything like that.
Now back here live, we can tell you bus routes are back to normal, but while engineers continue to check for structural damages on these tracks, elevators, escalators, and Metro platforms, this speed restriction will continue, even though it's gone from 15 miles per hour to now 30 miles per hour tonight. Now we can tell you that Amtrak, which also had the similar restriction today, is back to normal, as is VRE, but MARC trains will have reduced services, so commuters are expected to have some delays in the morning. Live in Silver Spring, John Gonzalez, ABC 7 News.
All right, thank you, John. Now, if you tried to make a cell phone call in the minutes after the earthquake, you know just how tough it was to get through.
Well, we're certainly in the age of immediate contact. We want to touch base with people right away, and along with it, we're posting pictures, texts, and videos to Facebook and Twitter, and you name it. Well, a viewer sent us a video of a swimming pool swaying during the quake. Some incredible video there. Chris Van Cleve is live in our newsroom with more on the social media explosion after the quake. Chris?
Well, Allison, this is Twitter. You can see still a lot of references about the earthquake, and talk about the power of Twitter. Some people learned of the quake on Twitter before they even felt it. They were clearly farther away from the center than we were. And of course, everyone online was talking about the earthquake. Facebook says within the first 5 minutes after the earth began moving, they saw the word earthquake appear in status updates for nearly 3 million people. Fortunately, many of you sent us what you saw.
No, it wasn't an earthquake.
Turns out, Mom was right. It was an earthquake, and your cameras rolled as the ground rocked. A security camera in Alexandria captured the feel and the sound of today's 5.8 magnitude trembler. In this backyard, watch the cat hang on as the earth around it shakes like never before. It moved cars in Laurel and at the police station in Vienna. And when it was done, thousands filled the streets of D.C., evacuating their offices, all asking the same thing.
You feel it? That's what it was, okay.
It had to be an earthquake. Look at everybody's moving now.
This is outside the courthouse in Annapolis after the ground rattled buildings and nerves.
This is amazing. So we're waiting to see if the officers are going to let us in or see if there's structural damage. And I think I need to just go home and chill.
A lot of people went home. A lot of people sent us pictures. I want to show you some of those, too, if we can. Here's some quake damage. This is of a store. You can see the roof started coming down in places over here. This is Main Street, Culpeper. Look at that building. There are cracks in the wall there. This is 15th and Euclid in Northwest Washington, an area that was shut down for a while today because of debris in the roads. Just some of the hundreds of photos that were sent to us at Eyewitness. That's the letter I, the word witness, at WJLA.com. In the newsroom, Chris Van Cleve, ABC 7 News.
All right, thanks, Chris. So what was the first thing that you thought to do when the earth started shaking under your feet? Run, right? No, wrong. As we've seen on surveillance video, including in the lobby of our own building here, people just took off running. That's a natural reaction, especially for East Coasters who aren't used to having earthquakes. But FEMA says the best thing to do is to drop to the ground and get under a desk or a table. Also, stay away from glass, windows, or anything that can fall. And stay inside until the shaking stops, and then it's safe to go out. We'll continue to follow the aftermath of the East Coast earthquake on air and online, so keep checking WJLA.com often for any updates or closings that we might get overnight, and we'll post it for you there.
All right, Leon, well, it's time to move on because we can't forget tonight about Hurricane Irene. As if an earthquake isn't enough this week, the massive storm continues to threaten the East Coast, and people from Florida to New England are in prep mode just in case Irene pays a visit. It's monster clouds visible from space. It's easy to see why when it comes to Hurricane Irene, there is no calm before the storm. From the southern tip of Florida to the Carolinas, residents are preparing for the first hurricane in 3 years to pose a serious threat to the United States.
Bottled water and food that won't perish.
Already a Category 2 and growing, the system is churning its way through the Caribbean. 100-mile-per-hour winds whipped the Dominican Republic and pounded Puerto Rico, leaving more than 1 million residents without power and prompting President Obama to declare a state of emergency. While tracking models vary by hundreds of miles, one even showing Irene moving back out to sea, meteorologists are warning the entire eastern seaboard to be on alert. Flights to affected areas have been canceled, and emergency management operations are up and running.
Making sure our vehicles are ready, making sure our communications work, making sure the IT's good to go.
So we've all been so focused on the earthquake today. We need the very, very latest.
We don't need a historic hurricane to follow a historic earthquake. This was something that, as I mentioned, has never occurred in people's lifetimes here in the East. And I mentioned earlier, I sent out a tweet, 50,000 times stronger was the earthquake in Japan. So you can imagine what that was like. Meanwhile, Irene will have an impact on our weekend weather, but more and more it's looking like it was more likely to stay to our east. Outside right now here in Washington, here's how things look. Boy, the temperatures, and you can see the mid part of the country with temperatures today we're well up into the 90s. Again, boy, the unending summer there in Dallas, Fort Worth, 104 degrees. We only made it into the low 90s. We've got that dry air in over us, and that will be the story as we go through the next couple of days. There is a weather front, and overall there'll be a little trough, a little wave in the atmosphere coming through us. Unfortunately, that may pick up and bring Irene right up the coast out to our east. but then that means an increasing threat for spots like New England and also Long Island and even New York City. Here's what's happening right now. There you can see the circulation. It has brought torrential rains to San Juan. The eye is really beginning to form. Irene's winds right now are 90 miles an hour. It's 980 miles south-southeast of Cape Hatteras. There's Miami. There's a diminishing threat because of that track for you folks into Florida. If you got family, friends, loved ones there, the water temperatures are in the 80s, but here's the very, very latest track now from the Tropical Prediction Center, the Hurricane Center. There you can see it becoming a major hurricane as it moves over to that warm water. And then as we get into the weekend, and by Saturday and Sunday, moves up the East Coast, we are still into that area of uncertainty, but more and more it does look like the center will be staying out to our east. We're better to be on the west side than the east side, certainly. In the meantime, there's that weather front that by Thursday will be getting close to us, bringing us some showers on Thursday. Nothing to do with Irene. In the meantime, overnight tonight, during the day tomorrow, it'll be another sunny, delightful day with temperatures into the 80s with southerly winds. Temperatures will be still into the 80s, and there's that threat of some afternoon showers. Nothing to do with Irene. Anything, and the impact for us here would be Saturday and Sunday. Right now, likely expect some gusty winds, especially you folks out to the east, the eastern shore. Those are the areas under the greater threat right now. A little bit more than around the bay, but obviously as that pattern changes and the uncertainty narrows a bit, we'll have a better idea in the days ahead. Stay alert right now.
All right, last thing we want to see here is a 1-2 punch like that, that's for sure. All right, more after the break. Stay with us. When the earthquake struck, we hit first. Live team coverage from D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. Up to the minute and non-stop. When the strongest quake in 100 years hit the East Coast, ABC 7 News was your strongest source for live coverage. ABC 7 News, always on your side.
It's the moment when push squares off with shove. When can't be done stands toe-to-toe with must be done. Ram 1500. Available 390 horsepower, 20 miles per gallon highway, and an unsurpassed warranty. It's time to test our mettle. The Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Summer Clearance Event.
Just announced. Get an additional $500 cash allowance for up to $8,395 in total values.
Mercedes and Lexus for Audi than ever before. Experience the summer of Audi by September 6th and get over 130 channels of Sirius XM satellite radio for 3 months at no charge.
Now through September 5th, save big. It's the Ford Labor Day sales event. Get huge savings on our great lineup of Ford favorites. Get 0% financing for 60 months plus up to $2,500 cash back and make no payments for 90 days on Fusion, Escape, Taurus, Flex, Expedition, F-150, Super Duty, and Ranger. Get both 0% financing for 60 months plus up to $2,500 cash back. Hurry, the Ford Labor Day sales event ends September 5th.
It's all new with a 5-star frontal crash rating.
5 stars means safe. 5-star protection.
Side crash rating. 5-star side.
Guys, 2, 3, 4, 5-star crash.
Side crash rating. Tires on the side only.
Lots of cars get 5 stars in one category, but not in every combined category. The one, the Accord sedan.
For great leases and low financing, go to shophonda.com or see your Honda dealer.
Well, sports still happen today despite the earthquake here.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, they had the effects of it as well. The earthquake had the sports world rocking and rolling. I'll tell you how it affected the Redskins and Nats. Oh, and this is how it affected one player on the field at Ravens facility. I'll tell you about it coming up next in sports.
Closed captioning is brought to you in part by Sleepy's.
Some people say good things come to those who wait. Truth is, good things come to those who work.
This is LA, and this is what we do.
Now lease the all-new 2011 Chrysler 300 Touring for $339 a month for well-qualified lessees.
Life is full of missed opportunities, but there's one opportunity that's too good to miss. The Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2011 RX 350 all-wheel drive for $459 a month for 36 months, with $39.34 due at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
Empire's Double Deal Days are here. Your chance to get a free upgrade plus free installation on quality name brand hardwood and laminate flooring. Call now and you can upgrade to even better flooring for free. Plus, get next day installation free. And now, no interest till 2013. Call Empire and save two ways with a free upgrade and free installation. Don't miss out. It won't last long.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today.
Hyundai's made a point to always shoot straight with people. And now we're asking everyday drivers to shoot straight with us about the Sonata, uncensored.
This would be like a really good road trip car. Ooh, road trip?
I'm 6'5", look at the legroom.
Starts at $19,000. That is a good price.
I mean, it's comfortable too.
Can we take out the Sonata again?
See for yourself. Test drive the 2012 Sonata today. You can lease one for just $199 a month.
But only at your local Hyundai dealer.
It was the best day. It was the best day. It was the best day. It was the best day because of you.
We make a great pair.
Huh?
Progressive and the great outdoors. We make a great pair.
Right, totally. That's what I was thinking.
Covering the things that make the outdoors great. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
Life is full of missed opportunities, but there's one opportunity that's too good to miss. The Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2011 IS 250 all-wheel drive for $339 a month for 36 months, with $39.14 due at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
The Toyota Sports Desk, brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, moving you forward.
Well, the earthquake had an impact on the sports world today. Redskins Park was evacuated. The light poles at FedEx Field were seen swaying. In Cleveland, the press box swayed and the game was stopped in the first inning of the Indians game with Seattle. At the Ravens facility, wide receiver Torrey Smith was shooting a promo when he was surprised by the quake.
I have Maryland pride. What is that?
What is this? It's an earthquake. Torrey Smith. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, the lights were swaying in the Eagles' locker room, and it took the players a second in Philadelphia to realize what was happening. But the Dream Teamers seemed to take it all in stride. I want you to listen to defensive end Trent Cole.
I happened to just be in the shower, just getting out from practice, and kind of freaked me out, too. I thought I was getting sick or something.
Not really. Let's go to Connecticut, where the New Haven Open tennis tournament was stopped and the stadium evacuated on the campus of Yale. And within 5 minutes, those 5,000 fans were asked to leave the stadium quickly and orderly. Tournament director Ann Worcester tells us about the impact.
Everybody stayed incredibly calm. You know, it turned out to be sort of just like a 2-hour rain delay. I mean, it was very similar to a rain delay. So that's what's shaken.
It was shaken. It took the Arizona Diamondback bus almost 2 hours to get to the ballpark, and the Nats game was delayed 20 minutes tonight. But once they got it going, it was a terrific game. Let me take you back downtown. It was a scoreless game into the top of the 7th. With a runner on first, this is Sean Burroughs. Takes a Jordan Zimmerman fastball and goodbye, deep right field. A 2-run home run. Zim's only bad pitch of the night, and the Nats lose 2-0. Hey, remember Artie Donovan? He had his 1958 Colts championship ring stolen in Japan back in 1977. Well, it was recently found on the Craigslist for $20,000. Police were tipped off. They pretended to be the buyer. They got it back from a guy in Elkridge, Maryland, and they returned the ring today to Artie Donovan. 53 years after the 1958 championship.
What a story.
Oh, that's great.
Amazing.
Good for Artie.
And
Love him.
I love that video of Torrey Smith. He just gets out of Dodge.
We're out of Dodge now ourselves. We'll be right back.
The Toyota Sports Desk is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers.
Toyota's nationwide clearance event is on. It's your chance to take advantage of the summer's best selection and the year's biggest deals on your favorite Toyota models, including the popular Camry, the best-selling car in America. Now lease a Camry for as little as $189 a month, or buy one with 0% APR, both with an additional $500 in Toyota finance cash. And don't forget about Toyota Care. Toyota's nationwide clearance event ends soon. Hurry in before time runs out.
Now through September 5th, save big. It's the Ford Labor Day sales event. Get huge savings on our great lineup of Ford favorites. Get 0% financing for 60 months plus up to $2,500 cash back and make no payments for 90 days on Fusion, Escape, Taurus, Flex, Expedition, F-150, Super Duty, and Ranger. Get both 0% financing for 60 months plus up to $2,500 cash back. Hurry, the Ford Labor Day sales event ends September 5th.
Daycare can be expensive. So to save some money, I found one that uses robots instead of real people, because robots work for free.
Good morning, female child.
Floss? Maybe.
There's an easier way to save. Get online. Go to geico.com. Get a quote. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
The 2011 Rutan SE. With available touchscreen navigation, rear seat entertainment, and Bluetooth. It was also named the Consumer's Digest Best Buy. And like every Volkswagen, it comes with scheduled carefree maintenance. That's the power of German engineering. Right now, during the Autobahn for All event, get a 2011 Rutan for 0% APR. Visit VWdealer.com today.
Okay, one last look at Irene.
Irene getting a bit stronger. Here's the very latest image from the NASA GOES project. There you can see the eye forming, and here is, I wanted to show you the evolution of the track. This was early yesterday morning. That was the track, and you can see how, with time, this is from the folks at the Hurricane Center, the Tropical Prediction Center, each envelope, each track has been trending a little bit more toward the east, which is good news for us. Not so good news, though, for the Outer Banks, nor New England, probably before the weekend is over.
Right. And of course, you'll be watching it.
Yes, indeed.
And we'll keep posted right here. That's it for us tonight. Nightline's next.
Good night, everybody.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you for watching ABC 7 News, winner of 5 Edward R.